Making sense of percentages and decimals. In this lesson we'll look at converting between decimals and fractions, and then we'll add percentages into that mix, and then look at problems involving percentages. Let's see how we can change a fraction to a decimal. Now, a decimal is a special type of fraction with denominators of 10, 100 or 1000, etc. So for example, 0.7 means 7 tenths. 0.31 means 31 hundredths. A fraction can be converted to a decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator. So 3/8 is simply 3 divided by 8, which can be done manually or with a calculator, and we'll get our decimal answer as 0.375. What is meant by percentage? Percent literally means out of 100. So cents in the dollar is an example of a percentage. 47 cents is 47% of the whole dollar. Now 100% is the whole amount. Percentages enable us to compare two or more fractions. Now comparing fractions can be a bit tedious when they have different denominators, and that's the advantage of percentages, because we've converted them all to a denominator of 100. Let's see how we convert a decimal to a percentage. How much is 100%? Well, that's equivalent to 1, and what happens when you multiply by 1? Nothing happens, the number stays the same, doesn't it? So we can multiply a number by 100% and we don't change the value of a fraction or a decimal or any number. So if we have to change a decimal, for example, to a percentage, we can multiply that decimal by 100% and not change the value of that decimal because we're multiplying by 1. And then we can use the 100 times the 0.571, getting 57.1, and our answer then will be as a percentage. So our answer is 57.1%. Let's see how we convert a percentage to a decimal. A percent is out of 100, so to change a percentage to a decimal we simply divide by that 100. For example, 129% is 129 divided by 100. Pressing percent on our calculator literally divides the number by 100. Dividing by 100 we'll get 1.29, so 129% is 1.29. Note that we have more than 100%, so we have more than 1. So we're happy with our answer. Let's now convert fractions to percentages. So 100% is 1. And what happens when you multiply a number by 1? Well, nothing happens to it. It stays the same. So we can multiply by 1 or 100% and not change the value of a number. But it helps us to write it as a percentage. So for example, 3/8 we can write as 3/8 times 100%, like we did with the decimals. Do our calculation. So we can actually do this on a calculator by doing 3/8, enter it as a fraction maybe, or 3 divided by 8, and then multiply by 100, and then that gives us the answer as a percentage, which comes out to be 37.5%. Let's see how we can express one quantity as a percentage of another. Some time ago, the elevator in Building J was not working. My office is up on the 5th floor, and I had to climb 105 steps to get up there. So to amuse myself one day, I worked out what percentage of the way I was up. I had climbed 84 steps. So to work out what percentage that is of the way up, I would firstly express that as a fraction, 84 steps out of 105, and then convert that to a percentage by multiplying by 1, written as 100%. and then I simply multiply my 84 by 100, which I can enter into the calculator as 8400, and then divide by 105 to get my answer of 80%. To calculate the percentage change, we work out what the change is and then express that as a fraction of the old value and then convert that to a percentage. For example, the price of petrol has risen from 149.9 cents per litre to 159.9 cents per litre. What's the percentage increase there? So firstly we have to work out the increase, and we'll notice that it is an increase of 10 cents there. Express this as a fraction of the old amount, the original amount, so it's 10 over 149.9, not the new amount but over the old amount. And then we need to express that as a percentage, so the percentage increase will be 10 over the 149.9 multiplied by 1 once again, expressed as 100%. And then we will do that calculation on a calculator. We can, of course, do 10 times 100 is 1,000 divided by 149.9 to get our answer of 6.67% rounded off. So we've seen that percentages, decimals and fractions are just different forms of the same thing. They're all fractions.